Craig Huey was saying earlier, buyer beware. This is what we're dealing with the weaponized government. The left has control of all the levers. I was talking with one of our guests yesterday, Craig, and, people want to bring back, the silent majority. But the silent majority is, they can only be effective to a certain degree because of what the left has been able to do to grab the levers of power at every turn, whether we're talking, as you were stating, education, the border, national security. They've got their grip, their cold, hard grip around every one of those levers, and they're not going to let go of it easily. This is going to be a serious battle. I know some people talk in terms of a second revolution. I don't care what you call it. But, I think that people are realizing that this is untenable. This is un-American, and we want our country back. And these people who have assumed positions and have moved into and are occupying our government in a way that is not for the best interest of all concerned, this is problematic. It is un-American. It is against our Constitution. And look what's going on. Like I said, whatever they're doing with Donald Trump, and then of course what you wrote about here is that about this new study that clearly shows how Google has been manipulating your vote. And this is a big concern for people. Here we go. We're less than 200 days, I guess, or maybe around 200 days, depending on how you count the calendar, because some states are going to be voting early. But somewhere in that zip code, away from the 2024 election, and the majority of Americans still have their doubts and they're insecure about a free and fair election because the cheating was so overt and so massive and extensive that there does not seem to be a remedy. Although I will hand it to the new leadership of the RNC, Laura Trump, in that they've hired 100,000 operatives to work in these swing states specifically to do everything they can to ensure a free and fair vote. That's moving in the right direction, but we need more aggressive moves like that to really secure the vote because, the Democrats, they were happy with the results last time around, weren't they?
They absolutely were. But we know what they did, and we know how to stop them. And so I know from personal experience that the Republican National Committee has been inept, corrupt, and totally ineffective. And part of the reason we're in the situation we're in now is because they've been like insignificant compared to the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, with the change that has happened because of President Trump, right. In our Republican National Committee, the RNC now has an army of lawyers, and it's growing. They have understanding of exactly what needs to be done to keep for honest elections and what to look for and to be able to stop any type of illegal activity. They know all about early voting and ballot harvesting, and they know what is legal with ballot harvesting and what is illegal with ballot harvesting. They understand that we as conservatives, as Republicans, libertarians, as Christians, we have to embrace early voting. We have to be involved in ballot harvesting where it's legal. And the fact is, many of the states have already put into place great voter ID laws to stop illegal activity, strengthen their voting integrity laws. So we are light years ahead of what we were in 2020. And so even though we have to be concerned, we have to be really aware. You started off talking about the issue of Google. Well, Google is obviously a private entity, but they have 90% of all searches. Now, that's going down because of AI and people going to chat GPT, but they have 90% of all searches. And here's the problem. You never know that what you're getting is biased. You never know that what you're getting is determined beforehand to give you a different point of view. And so you have millions of people who have no idea that Google is ideologically driven and that they're interfering with the 2024 election, and that it's really an indoctrination mill to use the power to sway voters with bias, because it's biased, and with censorship. And Bill, if we got a second, let me just explain this to everyone. You have censorship and you have bias on Google, on YouTube, on with the new AI project Gemini, and with Gmail. If anybody has Gmail, you're being censored right now, and you need to get out of Gmail. And you know, let's just take the Democratic primary that's gone on. You know what happened when people typed in Joe Biden? If they put down Democratic presidential campaign or anything like that, what came up was Biden and Marianne Williamson, and Robert Kennedy was invisible because he was like 40 pages below. Yeah, in the Republican presidential campaign, you know what happened during the primary? Marianne, two results came up on the Republican presidential campaign website, and that was the results showed Marianne Williamson, a Democrat, and showed Will Hurd, the Republican who had less than 1%. And the fact is, it's a history of bearing anything. If you went to Google right now, I did this not long ago. If I type in Trump on abortion, what comes up? CNN, NPR, in New York Times, Washington Post, not Newsmax,
all liberal,
all liberal.
Yeah,
and same thing with student loans, Israel, and with Biden, you know, everything's favorable. So it's a delusion, a delusion of objectivity.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's government controlled propaganda. That it is a form. It's clearly a form of that. You know, speaking of free and fair elections, I don't know if you've seen much or read much about David Clements. He's that attorney. He was an assistant professor at New Mexico State University. They ended up forcing him out because he did not go along with the party line regarding the 2020 election. Challenged it just based on common sense and things that he put together. He's put together this incredible documentary called "Let My People Go," and I say it's a must-see for people to understand what happened in the 2020 elections. We've yet to have any kind of serious investigation. I spoke with former Ambassador Ira Shapiro yesterday, and it was interesting because he was convinced. I mean, he's convinced as much as I'm convinced on the opposite side that it was a free and fair election. He believed in the January 6th committee, and I just didn't yell and scream. It was respectful.
Yeah.
but it was like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to go along with this. I'm sorry. I just, 60% of the country still is in doubt. So, the government owes it to this, to the people, to make sure that we have a free and fair election, that we're not sitting there wondering, okay, well, how come Joe Biden is the president? And not even is he the president right now, or who is running the popcorn stand right now on top of that. So it's, and the Democratic Party doesn't care that the American people are confused, and they're counting on that so that they can give Joe Biden another 4 years. Heaven help us.
Yeah, it's very scary. It takes prayer. It takes working in this election. It takes being involved and not sitting back complaining, but getting out there, be a poll watcher, work for a good conservative or Christian candidate, let your voice be heard.
You got to engage. I mean, Craig, we said, you and I have talked about this forever. When the founders used that powerful phrase, "we the people," it was in a sense, it was a designed mandate, an infrastructure that we the people must engage our government, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
Craig Huey, the author of The Great Deception and political commentator. Thank you.